Are you seriously going to bring this up again, Alia? We're just coworkers. Nothing more. Get over it. You're 24 years old, why are you acting like a jealous teenager? Raiden Miller watched the flurry of motion as Alia Davis, his girlfriend of 2 years, snatched her apron off the kitchen hook and stormed out of the shared apartment, the slamming of the wooden door rattling the framed food critic review on the wall. A bitter, almost weary smile touched Raiden's lips. That review, celebrating his innovative cooking but also noting his potential for distraction, felt ironic now. The distraction was less about his passion and more about this relentless, petty insecurity. He'd lost count of the number of times they'd had this exact fight, always centered on Kenzo, the handsome, charismatic sous chef at the upscale restaurant where Raiden, a promising 20-year-old culinary star, worked. For 2 years, Raiden had been the patient one, meticulously planning their future, constantly trying to soothe Alia's anxieties. But for 2 years, Alia had consistently prioritized her late-night, completely professional, shifts with Kenzo, often leaving Raiden to eat his own exquisite experimental dishes alone. It's time to stop trying to salvage burnt toast. He got up from the small, marble-topped dining table. With practiced efficiency, the same care he used to plate a delicate dessert, he swept the scattered shards of a broken wine glass into a dustpan. He tossed the mess into the trash, then pulled out his phone. He scrolled past his usual healthy meal prep app and, for once, ordered a thick, greasy, double patty smash burger from a late-night diner miles away. Alia hated the smell of fried food in the apartment. It was the antithesis of fine dining, she'd claim. Raiden, always accommodating, had always complied. Taking a massive, satisfying bite, he stared out the window at the neon glow of the city. Why did I ever stop making room for myself? He thought about the countless times he'd muted his own preferences to keep the peace. He remembered a maxim one of his mentors had shared: if your relationship feels like a culinary prison, it's time to find a new kitchen. He finished the entire burger, a messy, glorious act of minor rebellion, and gathered his specialized knife roll and pristine chef's whites. His evening shift as the youngest rising star at the Azure Spoon was about to begin. The constant tension surrounding Kenzo had been the core of their instability. Raiden had tried dozens of times to gently ask Alia to create some professional personal boundaries. After all, they were dating, and she knew his deep-seated feelings of unease. Yet, every single time, she'd react with explosive anger, insisting Kenzo was just a friend, accusing Raiden of being stifling and suffocating her career momentum. Then came the icy silences that could last for days, punctuated only by her excuses for coming home after 2 a.m. Were like a poorly emulsified sauce, destined to separate. Arriving at the bustling, stainless steel-clad kitchen of the Azure Spoon, he immediately plunged into the organized chaos of the pre-dinner rush. A little later, Vivian Sterling, the restaurant's exacting, silver-haired head chef and owner, clapped her hands, her voice cutting cleanly through the din. Attention, everyone. Thanks to the relentless creativity and sheer talent of Raiden Miller, our new menu innovator, we've not only retained the highly coveted Vance Group catering account but expanded its scope. Her gaze, sharp and approving, settled on Raiden. Because of this stellar performance, the company has decided to promote Raiden. Effective immediately, he is our new executive sous chef. A wave of applause erupted in the kitchen. Raiden, surprised, but grateful, stood taller and nodded his thanks to the team. Thank you, everyone. It truly was a team effort to make those dishes shine. He turned to Vivian. And thank you, Chef Sterling, for this incredible trust. Don't be modest, Raiden, a senior line cook, Marcus, called out. New executive sous chef means you're buying the late-night pizza tonight, right? You know it, Raiden grinned, the genuine joy a stark contrast to the hollow feeling he'd had earlier. My treat. I'd be honored if you all came out and celebrated with me. Vivian stepped closer, her expression thoughtful. The Azure Spoon has high hopes for you, Raiden. You possess a rare, intuitive touch. Keep pushing your boundaries. I will, chef. Your mentorship has been key, Raiden replied sincerely. It's the result of your own skill and passion, she corrected, then added, a slight twinkle in her eye. As for that celebratory pizza party, would I be honored with an invitation, Executive Sous Chef Miller? Chef Sterling, if you came, I'd be the one honored, Raiden said, giving her a small, respectful bow. After the spirited, laughter-filled late-night pizza celebration at a nearby pub, Vivian offered Raiden a ride back to his apartment since it was on her route. Alia wasn't home yet. In the past, this would have sent a familiar, sickly wave of anxiety through Raiden, making him want to compulsively check his phone. Now, however, as he unlocked the door and stepped into the apartment's quiet darkness, the feeling was absent. There was no anxiety, no crushing suspicion, no emotional exhaustion. He simply took off his chef coat, walked into the bedroom, and went to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, Alia was already sitting in the living room, nursing a cup of tea. Alone, fancy espresso shot sat cooling on the coffee table. Hey, about last night, she began, her tone a touch softer than usual. Kenzo got a massive catering order mess up, so I had to stay really late to help him save it. It was brutal. Okay, Raiden replied flatly, pulling on a clean, gray t-shirt. I got you an espresso from the new place downtown. You should drink it while it's still good. I know you love their blend. No thanks. You have it. I'm running late for my morning prep session. You'll get an ulcer if you skip the caffeine, she insisted, her voice edging on irritation. Just a little. I'll grab a cold brew on the way. See you later. He opened the apartment door and walked out, not once meeting her eyes or looking back. Raiden, I can explain. The door clicked shut, the sound final. Alia sat on the sofa, stunned by his indifference. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through their recent texts. Since their fight, Raiden hadn't sent a single text. Not a call. It has never been like this before. Usually, a small olive branch, a simple apology, a nice gesture, would instantly bring him back. She scrolled back through the chat history. It was almost entirely composed of messages from Raiden, sharing a new recipe idea, asking what time she'd be home, an excited food photo. Her replies were uniformly short and dismissive. K. Sure. Busy. Got it. Have I actually been taking him for granted? But that thought was quickly replaced by her long-held conviction. Raiden was just too clingy, too emotionally needy. She needed space for her career. If he doesn't apologize and come begging this time, I'm not forgiving him. Yet, for the next several days, Raiden remained distant. No texts, no calls. At home, he was either glued to his laptop, researching obscure food history or sketching new plating concepts, or he was gone. The number of non-essential words they exchanged could be counted on one hand. Why do I feel like he's a different person? Alia muttered to herself, the silence of the apartment suddenly feeling cavernous. A few nights later, Alia was out with her core restaurant crew, celebrating a colleague's birthday at a loud, dimly lit speakeasy known for its inventive cocktails. Around midnight, the party began to thin out. Cooks and servers started leaving, their partners showing up to pick them up, or calling to say goodnight. Finally, Tara, the pastry chef, stood up. Alia, my boyfriend is here to whisk me away. I'm heading out. See you tomorrow. Oh, right. Okay. Bye, Tara. Alia picked up her phone. The last non-essential message from Raiden was 3 days ago, a simple, terse work-related confirmation. She refreshed the screen several times, a nervous habit, but nothing changed. She sighed, an unwelcome knot of apprehension forming in her stomach. Maybe I should just be the bigger person and apologize first. She found Raiden's contact, and her thumb hovered over the call button for a few agonizing seconds before she finally pressed it. It rang and rang. Why isn't he answering? She checked the number again. Correct. She redialed. Still no answer. Is he asleep already? A sharp sense of unease, unfamiliar and unpleasant, crept into her heart. She quickly booked a ride share and rushed home. Raiden, I'm home, she called out, opening the door. Silence. He must be asleep. She walked quickly to the bedroom and opened the door. The bed was pristine and empty. Where could he be this late? Why isn't he back yet? Her anxiety, which she typically reserved for career setbacks, began to mount. She tried calling again, but this time it went straight to voicemail. She began to pace back and forth in the living room, her mind racing through worst-case scenarios, an accident, a kitchen injury. It suddenly occurred to her, with a chilling clarity, that this must have been how Raiden felt all those nights he waited anxiously for her, smelling the lingering scent of restaurant oil on her coat, wondering where she was and what she was doing. So, this is what it feels like to wait, she thought, a small, painful pang of guilt striking her. On her 10th frantic call attempt, she heard the distinct, metallic sound of a key in the lock. She breathed a profound sigh of relief. Raiden stumbled into the living room, his shirt slightly rumpled, his eyes tired but strangely alight. Where were you? Why didn't you answer my calls? She asked, her voice sharp with involuntary fear and irritation. Raiden looked at her, his expression momentarily blank, then he seemed to register who she was. Oh, work thing. Had a few celebratory whiskeys with the team. Phone was on silent. Big win for the restaurant. You never used to drink after work like that. Not with the team. Felt good. I'm tired now. Going to bed. He swayed slightly and headed toward the bathroom. Alia stood frozen in place. There was no warmth, no concern about her whereabouts, no question about her evening, not even a simple greeting or explanation beyond the bare minimum. This isn't him. Her heart twisted painfully. By the time she snapped out of her shock, Raiden was already in bed, lying on his side away from her. After she quickly washed up and slipped into the room, he was already breathing steadily, fast asleep. With a heavy sigh, she lay down and gently wrapped her arms around him from behind, a desperate attempt to reconnect. In his sleep, he shifted, a subtle but unmistakable movement, pulling away from her, instinctively creating distance. Alia felt her heart clench, followed by a wave of sharp sorrow. The next morning, when she woke up, Raiden's side of the bed was already empty. Panicked, she rushed out of the bedroom just in time to see him opening the front door to leave. Raiden, wait, she called out. The door clicked shut. A desolate, abandoned feeling washed over her. She walked into the kitchen. The counter, which usually held a pot of freshly brewed coffee and sometimes a perfectly fried egg and toast he'd prepare before his early prep shift, was empty. The stovetop was cold, a thin layer of dust visible. It hadn't been used in days. Why had he stopped doing that? Why did he leave without even saying a word? A strange, possessive anger began to bubble up inside her. Is he still mad about that ridiculous argument? Just then, her phone rang. It was Kenzo. Alia, can you come help me? The walk-in freezer at the restaurant shorted out, and I can't move the perishables alone. It's an emergency. Okay, I'm on my way. But she paused, remembering Raiden's unprecedented coldness over the past few days. Worried he would get the wrong idea if she just vanished, she decided to text him first. She opened iMessage. Raiden, Kenzo's walk-in shorted out. Going to help him save the product. Back soon. A few minutes later, a reply came back. K. Alia stared at the single-character response. No questions, no nagging, no resentment. She felt an indescribable emptiness. In the past, he would have launched into a multi-paragraph text about boundaries and disrespect. It's like he's checked out. She typed another message, letting the anger she felt about his detachment spill out. You didn't make coffee or breakfast this morning, and you left without saying goodbye. Are you still mad at me? Raiden, who was in the middle of meticulously prepping a new experimental foam for a 6-course tasting menu, saw her text flash on his watch. He frowned. She was never this communicative over text unless she needed something or was feeling defensive. He replied with a single word, busy. Alia saw the message and felt a wave of sadness and self-pity. Shaking it off, she got dressed and hurried to the restaurant. Alia, thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without you, Kenzo said, relief flooding his face as they moved containers of truffle butter and rare cheeses. Of course, that's what coworkers are for, she replied, forcing a smile. Is Raiden going to be okay with this? I know he's always been weird about us. He won't mind, she lied, but deep down, she wondered. Does he really not mind? After all, every single one of their fights had been because she was too close to Kenzo. Later, sitting on a milk crate in the quiet back alley, Alia picked up her phone several times, only to put it back down. Anxious and unsettled, she noted that Raiden still hadn't sent a single text or call. That wasn't his nature. He used to text her throughout the day, sharing small moments from the kitchen or asking for her opinion on a flavor profile. Finally, she couldn't take the silence anymore and sent him a message. Hey, what are you up to tonight? Work. No elaboration. Alia pushed on. I found this really cool underground jazz club and cocktail bar. Want to go together after you get off work? Can't. Client dinner with the chef and the Vance team. Where? I can pick you up. Don't worry about it. The replies were cold, dismissive, the emotional temperature of a blast chiller. Raiden, are you mad at me? He replied with a single character, a dash. Taking a deep, shaky breath, Alia typed out the apology she had been avoiding. I know. I haven't been considering your feelings lately. I'm sorry. Can we please stop fighting? The reply came a minute later. Whatever makes you happy. And the conversation ended. Alia leaned back against the brick wall like a deflated balloon, an empty feeling in her chest. She scrolled aimlessly through a food critic's Instagram feed and stumbled upon a story from Tara, the pastry chef. She had added Tara a while back when Raiden used his phone to share a recipe file. The picture showed Raiden sitting next to Chef Vivian Sterling. They were leaning in, talking intently about something, both of them smiling warmly. They looked incredibly professional, yet the intimacy of the shared discussion was striking. The caption read, New executive sous chef Raiden and Chef Sterling celebrating the Vance deal. Power duo. Don't they make the perfect team? Alia's mind went blank. The Vance client dinner. She saw the location tag, an extremely exclusive steakhouse she couldn't afford, and shot up from the crate, ready to leave. Kenzo, walking out with 2 empty trays, grabbed her arm. Alia, hey, where are you going? We still need to finalize the product inventory. Kenzo, something important came up. I have to go. It's an emergency. Is it Raiden? Is he mad that you're here helping me again? He's just too controlling, Alia. No, it's not that. I really have to go. Ignoring Kenzo's protests, she sprinted out of the alley and hailed a cab. On the way there, Alia's mind was in a turmoil. Why is she sitting so close to him? What's their relationship like outside the kitchen? Panic seized her. When she arrived, she saw them through the restaurant window. Raiden and Vivian, sharp in a tailored business suit, were presenting something, a new menu proposal, perhaps, to two older, well-dressed people across the table. Oh, it's just work. Alia let out the breath she didn't realize she was holding, the initial wave of anxiety lifting slightly. But as she watched them sit so closely, whispering to each other, sharing quick, approving smiles as a client nodded, that heavy, squeezing feeling returned to her heart. Eventually, the meeting concluded with handshakes. After they saw the clients off, Vivian turned to Raiden. "Do you need a ride home, Raiden? I'm heading back that way." Before Raiden could answer, Alia, no longer able to stay hidden, called out, "Raiden." Vivian Sterling offered a brief, polite smile, gave Raiden a small, almost proprietary wave, and walked away towards her town car. "Alia, what are you doing here?" Raiden asked, his tone devoid of surprise or pleasure. "I was just in the area, driving past, and saw you in a meeting, so I thought I'd wait for you." "Oh, well, I'm heading back to the kitchen. Still have some menu sketches to finalize before the morning prep. I'll give you a ride back. It's too late for a cab now. If it's too much trouble, I can just—" "It's no trouble at all, Raiden." Alia pulled open the passenger side door, but froze when she saw Raiden was already getting into the back seat. "Let's go. I'm going to be late," he said simply. Her fingers turned white as she gripped the handle. She remembered the colossal fight they'd had once because Kenzo had ridden in the passenger seat on the way to a food festival. She had accused Raiden of being childish and insecure. "It's just a seat. Can you please be a little more mature? This is exhausting." Since that day, Raiden had never willingly sat in the front passenger seat again. Alia shut the door, her composure fracturing. She got into the driver's seat. She glanced at Raiden in the rearview mirror, but he just had his eyes closed, his breathing even. When they got to the back entrance of the Azure Spoon, Raiden opened his door and walked straight toward the employee entrance. She got out and called after him, "Raiden." He turned around, his expression impatient. "Is there something else? I need to get started. I'll pick you up after work. We can go out for a proper late-night dinner. My treat. I'll make a reservation somewhere you like." Raiden nodded slowly. "All right." After work, Raiden waited near the staff exit, but Alia never showed up. He stood there for an hour before his phone finally rang. "Hello, Chef Sterling. Mr. Miller. I have something I'd like to discuss with you. Something substantial." "Of course, Chef. Whatever you need." "Great. I'm sending you my location. Come over when you're done, and we'll talk." It's an informal meeting. After hanging up, Raiden opened a message and sent Alia a text, "You're not coming." He waited for only a minute. There was no reply. He turned, retrieved his knife roll, and left the restaurant area. "Raiden, over here." Vivian waved from a table at an upscale Mediterranean bistro a few blocks from the restaurant. "What did you need to discuss, Chef Sterling? Let's order some wine and appetizers first. It's been a long day." After they ordered, Vivian leaned forward. "The company needs me to oversee the launch and operations of our new flagship culinary academy in New York City, starting in a month. I need a reliable, utterly brilliant second-in-command to help me. I was hoping you would come with me." Raiden's eyes widened. "New York? Why me, Chef? Your talent is being contained here, Raiden. It's a huge opportunity. Once we launch the academy, I plan on promoting you to culinary director. You'll have full creative control over the curriculum and the demonstration kitchen." "Culinary director, that's a massive jump. What? You're not interested?" I am interested. A genuine, breakthrough smile finally stretched across his face. That's great. But, what about Alia? That young woman who just left you in the lurch tonight. Raiden took a slow sip of his water, letting the coldness settle his emotions. That's my business, Chef Sterling, not hers. And besides, I'm planning on ending things before I leave. Is that so? Well, it's your private life, and none of my business, Vivian said, picking up her wine glass. But I hope you handle it well. You deserve happiness, Raiden. I will, Chef Sterling. When do we leave? Get your affairs in order. We head out on the 10th of next month. The 10th. That was 25 days from now. Plenty of time to cleanly, properly end this chapter of his life. On her way to pick up Raiden for their late-night dinner, Alia got a frantic call from Kenzo. He claimed his elderly aunt, who was like a second mother to him, had suffered a sudden, severe reaction to a new medication, and her last wish, a slightly dramatic and suspiciously timed plea, was to see him with a loving, supportive partner by his side. He begged Alia to pretend to be his devoted girlfriend for a few hours, just for his aunt's sake, to ease her passing. After a moment of agonizing indecision, the memory of Raiden's coldness clashing with Kenzo's desperate sobs, Alia, for reasons she couldn't fully articulate, agreed. It's just an hour. I can still make it to the restaurant. In the hospital room, Kenzo's aunt, looking frail but alert, took both of their hands and placed them together. Alia's first instinct was to pull away, feeling the heavy, wrong weight of the deception, but Kenzo held her hand tight, his thumb rubbing hers. After the aunt was stabilized and moved to a recovery room, Alia finally remembered her date with Raiden. She slapped her forehead, overcome with a sudden, sinking guilt. She immediately grabbed her phone and opened their chat. All she saw was Raiden's message from 4 hours ago, "You're not coming." Panic set in. Ignoring Kenzo's protests, "She's stable now, but I need support." Alia sprinted out of the hospital and drove towards the exclusive steakhouse as fast as she legally could, calling him over and over. "Come on, pick up. Let me explain." But when she got to the restaurant, Raiden was gone. She felt a profound, chilling sense of loss and growing dread. "Ma'am, are you still planning on ordering that celebratory dinner you reserved?" the host asked politely. She nodded, tears stinging her eyes. Can you pack it to go, please? Everything." She returned to their apartment with the expensive takeout containers and unlocked the door. "Raiden, I'm so sorry. Something awful came up last minute with Kenzo's family. I brought the food back. We can eat at home." Silence. "Raiden," she called out again, her voice trembling. She placed the bag of food on the dining table and pulled out her phone. Raiden hadn't replied to any of her frantic texts or calls. She sat down, staring at the perfectly packaged dinner. She thought back over the last few weeks. It's like ever since that fight, everything has fundamentally changed. Now, no matter how late she was, Raiden didn't call. He didn't make her morning coffee. He didn't text her throughout the day. Their conversations had dwindled to almost nothing. She used to find his attentiveness annoying, but now that it was gone, she felt an emotional vacuum. Her heart felt hollow, as if something precious was about to slip through her fingers forever. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, each second amplifying the silence. She kept getting up to look out the window, then staring at the door, hoping he would walk in at any second. Thinking of Vivian Sterling, she was consumed by anxiety and suspicion. A familiar, suffocating panic enveloped her. "Is this how you used to feel, Raiden? Just like I do right now." The clock struck midnight, and there was still no sign of Raiden. She picked up the phone and dialed his number. This time he answered. "Hello." The background noise was loud, filled with cheers and deep laughter. Raiden, where are you? Why aren't you home yet? Out with the team. Celebrating the promotion. Don't wait up. When will you be done? I can come pick you up. I could finally meet your colleagues. Don't worry about it, Alia. Just go to sleep. I've got to go. Click. Alia slowly lowered the phone. Have we really gotten to this point? Didn't he used to be the one who was always excited to introduce her to his colleagues? And what had been her attitude then? I don't want to meet your boring coworkers, Raiden. There's no point. At that moment, she felt a sharp, twisting pain in her chest. Have I really been that blind to his feelings? She thought about how she would drop everything and run whenever Kenzo called, but would make endless excuses whenever her own boyfriend asked her to do something. The guilt was becoming unbearable. I guess I haven't been a very good girlfriend, have I? She opened her social media and found a new story from Tara, tagged at a high-end whiskey bar downtown. The picture showed Raiden raising a glass and happily toasting his coworkers. Sitting directly next to him was the beautiful, sharp Chef Sterling. Every so often, the woman would lean in, and their heads would touch, their body language unmistakably intimate. A surge of white-hot jealousy and a blinding sense of crisis washed over Alia. She grabbed her car keys and rushed out the door. She parked across the street from the bar. Through the window, she could see Raiden clearly. He was leaning back in his chair, smiling widely, a picture of carefree relaxation she hadn't seen in months. Sitting right beside him, completely monopolizing his attention, was Vivian Sterling. The other colleagues at the long table were starting to leave, their own partners arriving to collect them. Seeing Raiden sitting there with only his boss, a beautiful, wealthy, focused boss, made Alia's heart ache. A silent tear rolled down her cheek. I'm so sorry, Raiden. I promise from now on, I'll always be by your side. Just then, Vivian Sterling stood up and gently took a glass out of Raiden's hand. Raiden's had a bit too much celebratory scotch. I think you guys should stop pouring him shots. Oh, look at Chef Sterling getting all protective. Marcus, the senior line cook, teased, and the table erupted in laughter. Alia twisted the hem of her shirt, fighting the urge to storm in there and demand his attention. Her intuition screamed that this woman was a monumental threat. It was almost 2 a.m. For Alia, every minute was torture. Watching their easy interaction, she felt a crushing weight on her chest. So, this is what it feels like to watch the person you love be so close to someone else. Heartbreak, panic, jealousy, suspicion, she was drowning in the insecurity she had inflicted on him. People finally started to leave. Raiden was clearly drunk, swaying on his feet as Vivian and Marcus helped him out. Alia immediately got out of her car and walked over, her face set in a mask of determination. I've got him. I'm his girlfriend, she said, her voice firm, as if planting a flag on disputed territory. Oh, so you're Alia, Marcus said, looking genuinely surprised. You know, this is the first time I'm actually meeting you. The words felt like a needle, jabbing her shame. She had been Raiden's girlfriend for 2 years, and not a single one of his senior colleagues had ever met her. As she reached for Raiden's arm, he lost his balance and stumbled toward Vivian. Alia reached out, but Vivian was faster, catching Raiden as he fell against her. Alia saw a flash of tenderness in Vivian's eyes as she gently patted his back. Alia immediately pulled Raiden back toward her. I'm so sorry. He's just drunk. Please don't take it personally, Chef Sterling. The unspoken message was clear. He's drunk, so don't get any ideas. Ms. Davis, it's really admirable that you came out this late to pick up your boyfriend, Vivian said with a razor-sharp smile. Marcus, you see that? That's what a dedicated partner looks like. You're right, Chef Sterling, Marcus sighed dramatically. Unlike my girlfriend, all she cares about is running around with her best friend. Sometimes I wonder if she's even my girlfriend at all. Alia's face burned with embarrassment. Well, Marcus, you'd better be careful, Vivian continued, her gaze flickering towards Alia. If your partner doesn't prioritize you, you might not even know it when they walk away for someone who will. Raiden mumbled from his drunken stupor, You're right, Chef Sterling. Makes sense. His words were a knife in Alia's heart. She propped him up. Raiden, you're drunk. Let's go home. After thanking the others tersely, she helped him to the car. She opened the passenger door, but Raiden instinctively pushed back. I don't want to sit in the front. No. Alia's eyes welled up with tears. Left with no choice, she helped him into the back seat. When she got in the driver's seat, she looked over at the empty passenger seat and froze. Taped to the dashboard, just above the climate control, was a small, crudely drawn cartoon of a grinning sous chef, a joke Kenzo had stuck there months ago, labeling it, Co-Pilot Kenzo. She hadn't thought anything of it then, but now it felt like a glaring, mocking accusation. She finally understood why Raiden refused to sit in the front. Tears streamed down her face. She ripped the decal off, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it out the open window with all her might. Then, she collapsed onto the steering wheel, a wave of despair and heartbreaking insight washing over her. I'm sorry, Raiden. I was wrong. I was so wrong for not caring about your feelings. Is this how you felt all those nights, tossing and turning while you waited for me? Did your heart ache just like this? I promise, she whispered, starting the car. It will never happen again. Back at the apartment, she managed to get him into bed and carefully wiped his face with a warm cloth. Then she lay down behind him and held him close. Promise me you won't leave me. I'll change. I swear I'll change. In that moment, she finally understood how utterly important Raiden was to her. She couldn't lose the steady, gentle anchor he had always been. The next day, she woke up early and started cooking. By the time Raiden got up, a full, steaming breakfast, eggs Benedict with a perfect hollandaise, his favorite, was on the table. Go wash up. Breakfast is ready, she said, smiling brightly, a genuine effort. Raiden just stared at her, a look of intense, clinical scrutiny on his face. What's gotten into her? In the past, she wouldn't even suggest breakfast, let alone prepare such a complex dish. His suspicious gaze made her heart ache. When he didn't move, she spoke again. Raiden, I know I was wrong before. About everything. I'm sorry. I promise I'll change from now on. Actually, Alia, there's something I need to talk to you about, Raiden said, sitting down at the table, his posture rigid. We need to. Let's get married, Alia blurted out, cutting him off, a desperate gamble to preempt the inevitable. What? I said, let's get married. I've realized you're the most important person in my life. I can't imagine a future without you. I was so confused before, but I see clearly now. You're the one I want to spend my life with. So, we should. Her phone suddenly rang. It was Marcus, the line cook. What's up, Marcus? Raiden, you need to get to the restaurant right now. There's an emergency with the ventilation system. Chef Sterling needs you here. I have to go, Raiden said, rising instantly. There's an urgent issue at work. We can talk when I get back. I'll drive you. It'll be impossible to get a ride share this fast. Okay. With the work emergency, Raiden didn't have time to argue. Alia grabbed her keys. She rushed to the car and held the passenger door open for him. Raiden just stood there for a second, his expression unreadable. We're going to be late, Alia urged. He still opened the back door and got in. A profound sense of powerlessness washed over Alia. Dejected, she closed the passenger door, got in, and sped towards the restaurant. On the way, she kept glancing at him in the rearview mirror, but he was just staring at his phone, typing. "From now on," she said, her voice quiet but firm, "no one else is sitting in my passenger seat, Raiden. It's only for you. I mean it." She watched for his reaction, but it was as if he hadn't heard her, his attention still on his phone. When he finally put it away, he asked, "What did you say just now? I didn't quite catch that." "Raiden, I know I was wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. Give us one more chance. Please." Alia was terrified, anticipating the breakup words she couldn't bear to hear. Raiden was silent, his lips pressed into a thin line, as if fighting an internal battle. He didn't say a word for the rest of the ride, which was agonizing for Alia. When they arrived, he jumped out of the car and ran towards the entrance. "Raiden," she called out one last time. He turned back, gave her a small, unreadable smile, and disappeared into the building. After that day, Alia seemed to become a different person. She went straight home from work every day, cooking elaborate dinners and waiting for Raiden. If he had a client dinner, she would insist on picking him up. She drove him to work every morning. She was truly trying, putting in the concentrated effort he had always craved. Raiden found himself torn. After a long, quiet struggle, he decided he should give her one final chance, a chance to honor their 2 years together. He didn't want to live with regret. He decided to lay all his cards on the table. He would tell her he was moving to New York for the promotion. If she was willing to quit her job, give up her current trajectory, and commit to following him, he would let the past go and try again. If she wasn't, then he could leave without a single regret. He was leaving tomorrow, the 10th. Today happened to be his 21st birthday. He called Alia and told her he had something very important to discuss and that she absolutely couldn't miss it. Based on how much she had changed lately, how focused she had been on him, he felt a flicker of hope. Alia, knowing it was his birthday, had gone to the mall early to pick out the perfect gift, a vintage, rare copper sauté pan. She'd also ordered a custom, 3-layered cake decorated like a chef's toque. She was giddy with anticipation. She clutched the small velvet box containing a custom engraved, titanium ring, her heart soaring. "Tonight, I'm going to propose to him properly. You're all set to leave tomorrow, Raiden. Everything finalized?" Vivian Sterling asked over the phone. "Just one last thing, Chef Sterling. But don't worry. No matter how it turns out, it won't affect my travel plans." "Good to hear. See you bright and early at the airport." Raiden went back to the apartment and packed his one large suitcase. He allowed Alia's imminent decision to dictate his own emotional path. With that done, he sat at the table, his heart heavy with a mix of hope and anxiety. This would be his last birthday here. At 6 p.m., he went into the kitchen and started cooking. His last meal in this apartment. He put his heart and soul into it, making all of his specialty dishes, a rare beef Wellington, perfectly seasoned vegetables, and a delicate crème brûlée. As he placed the last dish on the table, he glanced at the clock. Alia should have been off work by now. Maybe she's stuck in traffic. He sat at the table and waited. The minutes ticked by. 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. He pulled out his phone and called her. "We're sorry. The person you have called is on another line." The call was rejected. He tried again. "We're sorry. The number you have dialed has been turned off." He tried a few more times. Same result. Raiden's heart sank, a slow, irreversible descent. The last flicker of hope was extinguished. The clock struck midnight. He stared at the quiet front door, and the final knot of tension in his heart dissolved, replaced by a cold, clear emptiness. He let out a short, self-deprecating laugh. Closing his eyes, he clasped his hands together and made a silent wish. "Happy birthday," he whispered to himself. "And happy single life." He ate a bite from every dish on the table, savoring the flavors, then neatly put down his fork. He opened his laptop, finalized all of his work handover documents, and hit save. He glanced at the time. It was 6 a.m. Without hesitation, he stood up, went into the bedroom, and grabbed his packed suitcase. He carefully placed the small stack of photos they had taken together back on the desk, and left a folded note beside them. At the front door, he paused and looked back one last time at the apartment they had shared for 2 years. Then he turned and left without a second glance. Goodbye, Alia. Goodbye to the last 2 years. Alia woke up with a sharp jolt on a hard hospital bench. What time is it? She fumbled for her phone. Why is it off? A massive wave of cold panic washed over her. She grabbed a passing nurse's arm. What time is it? It's 5:40 a.m., ma'am. What's the date? October 10th, the nurse replied, looking confused. The 10th. Her hand trembled as she held down the power button. The moment it turned on, a flood of missed call notifications popped up. All from Raiden. She was frantic. I missed his birthday. I missed the crucial conversation. He said he had something important to tell me. An overwhelming sense of dread enveloped her. She immediately tried to call him back. The number you have dialed is unavailable or out of the service area. Her heart dropped into her stomach. She tried again and again. She frantically redialed, but the only response was the cold, robotic voice. The terrible truth finally hit her. You're awake, Kenzo said, walking up to her with 2 cups of stale coffee. Why don't you sleep a little longer? My aunt is doing much better, thank God. She looked at him, her eyes burning with fury and self-recrimination. Did you turn off my phone? I just saw how tired you were, Alia. I didn't want you to be disturbed. It's no big deal. Do you have any idea how important last night was to me? Why did you turn off my phone? Alia shrieked, grabbing his collar, ignoring the startled attention of other people in the waiting room. Alia, I was just trying to help. Did Raiden start a fight with you again? He just can't stand you helping me, can he? Shut up. Raiden is my boyfriend and he is important to me. She shoved Kenzo aside and stumbled toward the parking garage. Alia sped through the streets, praying under her breath. As she pulled up to their apartment complex, a sleek, black town car was pulling out. The 2 vehicles passed each other for a fleeting second. She ran upstairs carrying the copper pan and the cake box, not even bothering to close her car door. She fumbled with the key, her hands shaking too much. Taking a deep, ragged breath, she finally managed to open the door. Raiden. Silence. Her heart tightened. Raiden. Still no answer. Her pulse quickened to a painful staccato. She flipped on the living room light. The dining table was covered with a magnificent feast of carefully prepared, now cold dishes. Raiden's plate had remnants of food in it, his cutlery laid neatly beside it. Across from his spot, a clean set of plate and cutlery sat untouched, a silent, mocking testament to her absence. Alia clutched her chest as tears streamed down her face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She put the cake and the pan down and ran into the bedroom. All of Raiden's personal items were gone. On the desk, she saw the stack of photos and the note next to it. It read, "We're done. Let's go our separate ways. Don't contact me again." Her mind went blank. She dropped the note and frantically redialed his number, praying. No, he wouldn't be so cruel as to just leave me like this. The call connected. The number you have dialed is unavailable or out of the service area. She tried again. Same robotic voice. The truth finally hit her with the crushing force of a dropped refrigerator. He blocked my number. She opened iMessage, typed a message, and hit send. A red exclamation mark appeared next to it. Her phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. She sank down with it, tears splashing on the hardwood. "Why won't you let me explain? Why did you leave?" Alia wailed, her cries echoing through the empty apartment. A terrible, cold thought struck her. She jumped up, grabbed her car keys, and raced to the Azure Spoon. She stopped Marcus, the line cook, on his way in. "Can you please get Raiden Miller for me? Tell him his girlfriend is here." Marcus looked genuinely shocked. Executive sous chef Miller already left headquarters. He's been transferred to the New York Academy. "You're his girlfriend, how could you not know that? What did you say? When did this happen?" Alia's eyes widened in disbelief. His flight to New York was this morning. He was leaving with Chef Sterling. Alia, fueled by adrenaline, sped towards the airport. "I can still make it. I have to make it," she told herself, driving recklessly. Just as she pulled into the airport parking garage and threw open her door, a massive, distant roar of ascending jet engines echoed through the structure. A passenger jet, sleek and silver, soared overhead, climbing into the clear morning sky. Her hand froze on the car door handle. She squeezed her fist tight. "He's really gone." She collapsed back in her seat and sobbed, pounding the steering wheel in utter devastation. Final Fantasy. 2 years later, Alia was the executive sous chef at a highly rated restaurant, a brilliant, focused, and decisive woman known for her cold professionalism. She had cut all ties with Kenzo and learned to prioritize her life. One day, her friend Tara forwarded her a picture. Raiden Miller, now a celebrated culinary director, standing next to his beautiful wife, Vivian Sterling, holding a brand new, custom-engraved spatula. The caption read, "Happy first anniversary to the perfect culinary power couple." Alia stared at the photo. Raiden looked profoundly happy, his smile genuine, his eyes alight with a secure love she had never truly given him. She leaned back in her chair, closing her eyes. "Leo, it's been 2 years. Seeing you this happy, shouldn't I be able to let go? Then why does my heart still hurt so much?" It wasn't regret for what she'd done, but a hollow, visceral pain for what she had carelessly lost. Love isn't just one person's effort. Alia deleted the photo, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. She focused on the task in front of her, a new menu designed for the next quarter. She was successful, she was respected, but the kitchen felt enormous, cold, and utterly empty. "If there's a next life, Raiden," she whispered to the silence of her office, "I promise I will cherish you." The end.